So is AI going to take our jobs? And I think the answer is yes, it fundamentally is. And I think that's a good thing.
Do you see it being beneficial for humanity? Do you see it, actually taking us to a different stage in our life, in the way we do things in life? And is it going to bring more freedom, or is it going to actually take away from people?
You have a limited time on Earth.
Yeah.
Do you want to get to this age and look back and go, woulda, shoulda, coulda done that? Mm-hmm. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What do you think is a skill or a practice that can allow someone to become more innovative, more creative, and with more intention? What would you say? What helps you?
No rules. Get exposure. And I guess a third one, I'll add that in. Keep asking why.
Grand Rising and welcome to New Mind, where our intention is clear and is to share information for transformation. I'm your host, Sam Daghash, and today is going to be a very special day because I have a special guest, a friend, someone that I've personally known for over a decade. I'm very lucky to call a friend, but also someone that is a leader in his space, a very successful entrepreneur. And his name is Pete Gooduin. And a creative strategist, brand architect, and the founder and CEO of Ideal. With over 2 decades of leading major initiatives across retail, tech, events, and government, Peter has helped transform bold ideas into globally recognized ventures. His work with organizations such as Dubai Future Foundations, the Museum of the Future, Hyperspace, and Special Olympics World Games has generated massive global impact and over 80 billion media impressions. At Ideal, Peter empowers founders to bring big visions to life through strategic clarity, creative innovation, and cutting-edge tools in MarTech, ComTech, AI, and Web3. Beyond business, he champions purpose-driven leadership through his social impact work with Team Angel Wolf. Peter is a visionary who leads with intention, creativity, and a relentless drive to build what matters. Welcome, Peter. So good to have you here with the show.
Sam. Yeah, it's a real pleasure.
I appreciate having you. You know, why I'm so excited to have this conversation with you, something about the New Mind podcast, Peter, is all my followers over the years now are all about freedom, about creating a life of freedom. And as we know, in today's age, with everything going so quick with AI, everyone has those sparks of ideas and dreams that they want to achieve. But for some reason, there's always the limitation that kicks in through their mind, or an excuse that shows up where do they even start? Where did they even begin? And this is why I'm so excited, because you're someone in this space who understands AI, who's doing something very, very unique, I must say, Peter, and I'm super proud of what being a witness of your journey, because it really feeds into the mission of creating more freedom for people in this world and really bringing dreams and ideas to life. So let me begin, because I want to rewind the movie a little bit here, and I want to start with a question around AI in particular, because we know this is the buzz right now. Everyone's talking about AI, and I want to take your take on it. What's your say and what's your take about AI in terms of, is it really going to change the world we know in terms of people's jobs? Is everyone going to be without a job in 4 or 5 years from now? Is it true that we're doom and gloom, or is there something else in your perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's buzzing like hell, right? So is AI going to take our jobs? And I think the answer is yes, it fundamentally is. And I think that's a good thing, right? Who wants a job, right? You want a job? I don't want a job, right? No one wants to work for somebody else doing something that they consider to be mundane at times. So AI is going to take the mundane, the things you do regularly, you don't want to do, away from you. And if your job is mundane, say goodbye, right? It's gone. That creates the freedom. It's going to force you into a place where you're going to have to be an entrepreneur. You're going to have to do something different. We think the future is entrepreneurship. We think everyone can be and probably will be an entrepreneur. 5 years? I don't know. Like, who knows, right? Yeah. 15 years, 20 years, most likely. And I find it fascinating because a lot of people look at this and they're worried. I understand that people want the support, they want the stability, they want the income. Well, those things can come in a different way. It doesn't need to be a job, right?
I love how you position that it doesn't need to be a job. And I think why people are concerned is because they don't have an understanding of what it takes to be an entrepreneur or to create some idea into life. And they think, they're used to, this is how the mind works. We're in the familiar. We're used to having that job, that salary every month. And if you take that person out of the certainty into the uncertainty, the unknown, it immediately becomes a bit of fear that kicks in and unknowing. And this is why I love, and we'll get into that mission and intention with what you're doing with Ideal, because that almost addresses that, But before we go there, I wanted to ask you, again, going back to AI, do you see it being beneficial for humanity? Do you see it, actually taking us to a different stage in our life, in the way we do things in life? And is it going to bring more freedom, or is it going to actually take away from people? This is an interesting, take. I would love to hear what you think about it.
So there's so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
Any emerging technology in any area. I mean, electricity is a great example. People were scared, right? They thought it was going to set fire to houses. People were going to get electrocuted all the time.
Yeah.
But without it, we're not even doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So the augmentation that AI will provide will be over and beyond anything humans have ever witnessed. But then we will normalize it in the same way that you get on a flight and you expect Wi-Fi now, right? It becomes normalized. So people don't see this augmentation on a day-to-day basis. They might feel it initially, and then it will start to support them. So we have to be clear. I believe AI will augment us in a way that we've never seen. I believe that it will benefit us more than it will hinder us and slow us down. Are there risks? Yes, because AI could have intelligence to a level which we can't control. Is that going to be on us to sort out? Only if it goes wrong. Are we able to switch it off? Probably, right? There'll be safeguards in place to do that. But as I was saying to you, before this, AI's learned from us. It's a human thing. People, think it's not. It's robotic. It's artificial, right? It's the worst possible naming of any technology, artificial intelligence, right? It's actually not. It's learned from us. So I think the realities are that if we believe in ourselves, we should probably believe in the AI and the augmentation of AI, because I think it's going to herald a phenomenal future for us,
I love your take on it. I want to be optimistic about it. And like I was chatting to you off camera, I think AI, again, maybe the artificial part gives it a negative association, but generally I also see it as a mirror of human consciousness. So I feel that however we are in our journey, and you said something golden prior to being online on air, is that we have always been wired to make things easier for ourselves, right? As humanity, we're always wired to take a shortcut. How can we make things much more easier, augmentation wise, but in general? So if that has been the mission throughout centuries, then I think that would be, naturally speaking, where AI would be heading towards, is how can we make life easier for everyone on the planet? Yeah. I think, again, it just goes back to the unknown and uncertainty of it. And as humans, we are wired for certainty. We want to know what's going to happen. And maybe this is probably one of the first times in human history where no one really has a clear answer.
Yeah.
And everyone, as you rightfully said, loves to project, assume, take their take on it. And I'm not saying I'm not judging, it's just everyone has a say, but ultimately we don't know. And I think that's okay not to know all the time, Now, if I want to go back to AI from an entrepreneurial perspective, from AI that run companies or can run companies, what will happen to the human founder in this perspective? Because more and more we know that AI is taking on certain roles that are systematic, let's call it. And what happens to the human element in it? What do you think happens to the person, the founder, in this perspective? Does he, does he fade away? Is he still valuable to the concept of it all? You know what I mean?
Massively. Yeah. So it creates freedom, right? So the fundamentals of this are that if you think about your day and what you do in your day, how much of it do you not want to do, right? And the entrepreneurial journey, a lot of it is drudgery. A lot of it is following up. A lot of it is learning new skills. A lot of it is making things happen, right? So AI is going to take a lot of that away. That's the fundamental, exciting change that is happening, right? I would tell people today, use AI and find out what it can do. And you will normalize it so fast that you find yourself not writing things in the same way anymore. You're adapting and overcoming these things on a day-to-day basis. Your speed to market is 10x, 100x. I think the headlines are talking about the next billion-dollar company being a solopreneur, right? An individual launching a $1 billion without any employees, without
another
any
Facebook
support,
or another Amazon.
whatever it may be.
Wow.
This is entirely possible, right? It will happen in our lifetime for sure. But it's interesting how the market adjusts because that opportunity will be there for 1,000 solopreneurs. Are they all going to be billion-dollar companies? We all have the same advantages now, right? So what's the thing? What's the secret sauce? Imagination. The fact that people are able to think of something unique, do something unique, realize their vision in a certain way. AI is not going to do everything for you. You've got to input into it. But the freedom to work on the business rather than in the business is going to be where we are.
Wow. So in other words, the currency that will start to be of value is imagination and intention.
100%.
And the attention that you have.
100%.
Right. So that's the new currency, we would say, especially in the world of AI. And I think that that's probably most people need to develop that skill of being more innovative, being more creative, and maybe also diving into the world of what if was possible. Because before, again, our mind limits us from thinking about something we can create because it's going to be too complicated. Who are we going to hire? How are we going to do this? Who's going to do the back end creative? Who's going to do development? I know today, we spoke about this again, there's companies that literally does the entire development for you at the back end, right? Literally, you have a website idea, it can develop it for you. You don't even need to hire a developer, correct?
A to Z,
So
agentic.
For example, just everything. So I think that is really a message to all of you guys that are listening or watching this, is that ask yourself, how innovative are you today? How creative are you today? I mean, I was sitting with Peter. This is what I love about Peter as a friend and a brother. We're talking, and every 2 minutes he's got an idea, and that is a gift. This is not a compliment, man. I just want to be honest with you. That is a gift. So reflection on how often do you get ideas, and what can you do? And Peter, maybe you can just comment on this. Yep. What do you think is a skill or a practice that can allow someone to become more innovative, more creative, and with more intention? What would you say? What helps you?
Yeah, I can give you two things. One is, so I come from the fine art industry, right? Mm-hmm. There's only one rule in art. There are no rules. That's the only rule. There's no rules, right?
Wow, okay.
So fundamentally, I've spent a huge amount of time with artists, and artists are the bravest, most creative, most innovative people on the planet. That's my take on it, right? Mm. They have to go out there and expose themselves, test their ideas, create stuff that other people are not creating. And how do they do that? Well, some of it's systematic. Some of it is they have to keep creating and learning and making mistakes, and they do so in public, right? Which is crazy. But they get exposure, and that's number two, right? So number one, no rules. Don't limit yourself. And number two, get exposure. Get out there. Meet people. Please go out there and spend time with other humans, because that's where the spark comes in. Spend time in nature. Right? You'll witness and see things that feed your subconscious, and they come up later. So I promise you, I'm not unique. I just spend time on the things that feed my imagination, right? And I keep asking why. I'm always like, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? Well, with AI now, why is an instant answer, right? So you don't need to keep asking why and keep doing tons of research.
Or even how.
Even how it will tell you. Okay, it might be wrong,
right?
Yeah. But then you ask what is, you keep questioning it.
Yes.
So for me, it's, no rules. Get exposure, and I guess a third one, I'll add that in. Keep asking why. Why?
I love that, Pete. Thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful. I'll add an extra layer from my perspective that's helped me in my journey, where it helped me become more creative, is leaning into what excites me. Mm-hmm. So when I feel that when you lean into something that excites you in life, either it's a mission, which we're going to talk about yours shortly, or something that inspires you, because in my world, in my model of the world, in my realm at least, we call about inspiration a big thing, which gets you in spirit. It's like you get this spark of energy, you get excited. Even when you shared your other, I'm going to keep that confidential, but the other business rollout that you intentionally want to create, I can see that there's a spark because you identify something and you know it's going to be good. And there's an energy that comes with it where you don't mind spending a couple of hours at night extra to just brainstorm and think about it. And I think that's a big tip for you guys, my listeners and viewers, is that find something that also inspires in addition to what Peter said, because I think in that space, in that state is where you become more innovative and more creative. Would you agree to that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And I think that also ties into the no rules thing, right? In terms of, all of us want to be independent in the way we think of things. All of us want to believe in our own ideas. I believe in the validity of all ideas, right? The version of whether it's good or not is the subject, right? Is it a good idea or a bad idea? Well, that's subjective. Is it good commercially? That becomes a whole other framing, right? But is it a good idea? It doesn't matter. Does it matter whether it's good or not? Can you do it or not? All those questions are more down to the individual. Does it give you satisfaction? Do you enjoy it? Is it going to enhance your life? Are you enjoying the ideation process at least? At least you could come to the end of it just philosophically. Don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But you're training your creativity through that process.
100%. Now, I want to move over to the intention. I want to move over to the mission. And I want to ask you from the top down, like, what is ideal and what problem are you looking to solve for the founders out there, for the guys that are wanting to step into entrepreneurship, or an existing entrepreneur that wants to expand on his business or has a new business idea or a dream really that wants to come to life? Can you define that for me? Can you break that down, please?
Sure. So IDEAL stands for Idea Live. It's basically a co-founder and co-funder in your pocket. So it's AI powered, and it's there as a support mechanism that gets you from A to Z. Right. So the I in ideal is for imagination, right? Or inception, right? It's the first stage of an idea. You have a spark and that imagination needs to be formed, right? So you then need to get into a place where you develop that idea and you design the idea. So that's the D of ideal. Execution, which is arguably 90% of the work. It helps you execute every single day. And it does it through behavioral analysis, nudging, knowing the path, having a vision, getting you to that place. It's proactive in its support. And then the A is super interesting. A stands for accelerate. Most ideas fail, or most ventures fail in the final stages. Not in the early stages when you're excited and full of energy. It's running a marathon, right? Well, when do people stop? Mid-race, towards the end of the race. That no one stops in the first 5 miles, right? Because the first 5 miles, you've got that drive and energy, but the fatigue kicks in at the end. So there's an accelerate stage built in. You probably need more funding. You probably need more time. You probably need more energy. So it's acceleration before the L, which is live. And that's an entire process. It will help you through all of that. At the very beginning, it does a feasibility and it assesses your idea. And that feasibility is not to say whether it's good or bad. It's to say whether you should or shouldn't dedicate time and energy based on the outcome you're looking for. If the outcome is commercial, you need to assess the environment. You have to look at whether it's viable or not, right? Ideal was born from my frustration. Middle of last year, I had a left-right decision, right? As most decisions are, do I go this way or this way?
Yeah.
I'd stacked up a bunch of ideas and I couldn't launch any of them. They're all just sat there on a list. They'd been there for up to 5 years in some cases. And either I took all those ideas and I put them in the bin and said, I'm never going to do them and get focused on the 2 or 3 things I was doing, or I find something that launches all of them, every single one of them, 15 ideas at once. So I looked for an AI platform. ChatGPT is emerging, OpenAI is developing, Gemini is coming through, and I couldn't find anything. I certainly couldn't find a co-founder in your pocket. All I could find were, ironically, podcasts, training manuals, people telling you what to do, giving you advice, right? Yeah. But when you turn around at 10 p.m. and you know this as an entrepreneur, there's no one there. You're on your own. And you have probably co-founded. I don't know too much about the co-founding history you have with other partners, right? Well, actually, I do. I say that. But you've had co-founders. Good ones and bad ones, entirely subjective. You have a good one, your chance of success is 10x. If you have one that's dragging you back, your chance of failure is 10x, right? I've had the same thing in my life. So we're trying to build a really good quality co-founder to help people launch. And I can talk about this sequence and the process, but fundamentally, it's a utilization of AI. We're not an AI company. We're trying to build something that uses AI to massively augment you. The process is crazy hard, so we want to try and eliminate most of those barriers. But then the funding piece is critical. And we're creating a decentralized venture capital fund that will fund the best ideas that go through that platform.
I think that is the key, because there's one concept of building a great idea and completing it. But to be honest with you, the fact that you're bringing in the funding element to it, a decentralized process, especially with the world we're moving into in terms of crypto and how everything is set up, I think that's gold. And I just want to comment on one thing, Peter. What you're saying as well is there is an element of almost like a coach in your pocket.
Yes.
Because the behavioral part, of course, it's my domain,
Yes.
is super important for them nudging you and, hey, continue the process. Hey, don't give up.
Yes.
And we both know that motivation is a state of being. It's not something that lasts. What's your take on motivation when it comes to being an entrepreneur? And also, how do you feel Ideal can sort of support that element for someone that is midway?
Yep. So motivation, don't rely on it, is my first response to that. Do it anyway. Right. So you have to do things whether you're motivated or not. Right. I'm tired. Do it tired.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't slept. Do it having same thing. I'm physically worn out. Do it physically worn out. You know, my wife needs some time. Do it before or after. Right. So it's one of those things where you're in a place where do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then use motivation. When you're feeling motivated, do your hardest tasks when you're on the adrenaline, when you're feeling good, when you have the positivity, right? So you allocate those tasks at that time. I'm feeling motivated today. Get the tough stuff done, move through it, right? Or get more things done today because you've got the energy. So motivation's a funny one. But can you create motivation? Can you get in the right environment? Yes, everything that you say around the context of doing that, getting your mind in the right place, breathing exercises that can push you into it. Your environment makes a huge difference. The people you're spending time with make a huge difference, right? So feeding that so you're optimal as much of the time as you can be is incredibly important, but don't rely on it. Still keep moving when you're not motivated. The other thing for me is really around what you said with Ideal and how does it behave as a motivator, right?
Yes.
So I'm a big believer in simplicity, and really it's going to be a carrot and stick approach, right? The carrot approach, which is going to be on a day-to-day, but you can do this, you've got this, don't give up, it's going to be okay. You've hit a setback, everyone hits setbacks, don't worry, there's a way around that wall. We can get over it, we can go under it, what do you want to do, kind of thing, right? And you know this as well as I do. You've got to keep punching.
Yeah.
But then you have the other stick, and I've got to be honest with you, Ideal for me was more about the other stick, which is the side where you're working because you don't want to fail. You're working because you want to do something with your life, right? So for me, it's about timeline and how explicitly we remind people of you have a limited time on earth.
Yeah.
Do you want to get to this age and look back and go, woulda, shoulda, coulda done that? No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to help you test your idea so you have some strong validation, and we're going to help you launch it. There are no excuses anymore. Right? So fundamentally, we're going to keep saying, hey, you didn't do the thing yesterday. Do you want to get to 65 and look back and say, didn't try the thing when I had the money, when I had the time, when I had the energy? You don't want to do that, right? So we're going to try and do hindsight in foresight with some of our nudging as well. So it's that balance in between.
Man, I love it. Because what you're doing with the nudging is actually truth. We do have limited time on earth. And I like the no excuses part, Peter, because if you have that in your pocket, and you know, some people, and I'm not judging, they will work for an organization for 40, 50 years, and they are willing to dedicate all that time, and when it comes to spending a few hours a day or a couple of months to build a concept, an idea that has a potential not only to come to go live, but also to be funded, I think for me is a no-brainer. It really is. It really is. And this is why I want to command you on changing and shaping a different reality for those who maybe had excuses in their mind or maybe thought it was not possible, and really making it possible today, Peter. And I just really want you to understand, like for me, from an entrepreneur perspective, I come from old school, and so do you. You know, we had to do it the hard way, and we continue to do it but now with this element coming in and a problem that you have faced, and even me, to be honest with you, where you have the idea, you put it aside because of, you need to allocate more time, or you don't have the motivation, or you think it's just going to be too complex, versus I see it as a shortcut, to be honest. I see 100%. it in my model of the world, I call this a quantum jump. Like you're literally jumping into a timeline of making it possible, and then actually seeing it for what it is. And you know what, Pete? Maybe not every single idea is amazing, and maybe not every single idea would get funded. But you know what? I think as a person, if you at least implement it and give it a shot, it's better than not trying at all.
100%.
You know what I mean? I think I would sleep better going, you know what, I did and I completed the process, and maybe I've learned something that is not what I thought it would be. I need to come up with a different idea, or maybe throughout the process you actually develop a new idea.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
And it feeds your creativity.
And it feeds your creativity, because ultimately, as we said, the currency of the future is creativity, innovation, and attention. I think attention is a big one, because we are so distracted nowadays. So look, I want to ask you. So you say founders don't fail because of an idea. There's this almost this early stage blockers, and I want to just give our audience and our listeners an example of what would you say are those blockers are, and how would Ideal sort of resolve it? Can just one or two examples if it comes to mind?
Yeah,
Peter?
sure.
Yeah.
Well, we actually so we built a matrix. Right?
Okay.
There's a matrix called the Prevent Matrix.
Okay.
Right. So this is everything that prevents people from going live. Right. And the P Prevent stands for psychology. Right. So we've covered that. People who feel unmotivated, or for whatever reason they have some psychological reason to stop them from doing it. Okay. Fine. That's obvious.
Yeah.
Right. R is resource. Now, resource is obviously money. If you don't have the money to invest in X, Y, Z, it's tough. But it's also resources around you, right? If you already have a startup, already have a business, that's got resources. You can lean on that for your second one. But a lot of people don't have the resource, right? They just don't have it.
Yeah.
The E stands for expertise in Prevent, the first E. Expertise is what have you learned in your lifetime? What skill set do you have? Let's be clear. When we're starting up, how many hats do you have to put on? Legal, marketing,
100%,
copywriting, web design, blah, 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 sales, you name it, right? Product development, the list is endless. You have to learn a lot of that, right? So that's important. V is vision, right? A lot of people have a vision, but it's too broad. It's too gray. It's not specific. You need to be able to say your vision in one sentence. I wanted to build a co-founder in your pocket.
Boom.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
You have to get it down to that, so that every day you wake up, what am I doing today? Does it contribute to that one vision? One vision, right? Very, very important. So that the second E for us is execution.
The execution,
right?
yeah.
The execution side of things is all about getting things done.
Yeah.
And if you aren't an expert in getting things done,
Yes.
you're not going to get anywhere, right?
Yeah.
The first half of it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
The N in Prevent is network.
Yeah.
If you have people around you, that's going to help you. If you haven't got people to call, that's going to be a problem, right? And the final one is timing. If you get your timing off, the first 6 don't matter.
Wow.
So that entire Prevent matrix, if you don't tick all those boxes, it's going to slow you down. It's going to stop you doing stuff. So people always attribute a reason in that matrix for not getting started, not moving things forward, not making things happen, right? So it's the Prevent matrix.
I love that. And that was thought after in Ideal on how we can address those matrix, correct? Those elements, right?
The entire platform's built on it.
Oh, wow. I love it.
So every single stage is this a psychological issue? Is this a resource issue? Is this an expertise issue? Is this a network issue? Is this a timing issue, right?
Wow.
The training we put in our AI, which is proprietary, we'll use other LLMs, but it's proprietary, will help guide people through that. And it keeps it simple, right? If you can keep people on that path.
Because it gives them also clarity on what's blocking them in the process. Overcome it, move to the next stage.
Yes,
I love it, because you could actually just have one block for a founder, or let's just say a prospect entrepreneur, and if he just overcomes that block, everything else could fall into place.
Yeah, 100%.
And sometimes it could be much more simpler than they think, but because you don't have the co-founder in your pocket, you're not getting the insight and information that allows you to look at it in a different perspective and guide you through that block.
Yes.
I love it.
And just to say something with this, that entrepreneurs are not born.
Yeah.
Right. This is something that people believe. Right. People think that a certain type of individual, yes, if you have certain characteristics in your personality, your chance of success in a certain area is higher.
Yeah.
But it's a learned behavior. It's a learned thing.
Like everything else in life.
And that Prevent matrix applies to you, it applies to me, it applies to everybody.
100%.
So navigating that is the same. It's the same for everybody.
I love that, man. And how does the Ideal platform actually take someone from, just to make it simple for everyone, from a top line perspective, from idea to build to funded to live? What would that, top of line, Pete, what would that process look like for someone that's entering into that space in terms of moving through those stages?
Yeah. So the first one is validation, right? So fundamentally, is your idea valid? And that validation is built on the premise that the idea may change over time.
Okay.
But it first says, do you have a shot? Do you have a chance? There's a big difference between saying, I want to start my own coffee shop and I want to compete with SpaceX, right? Those are two very, very different things. If you don't have the resources and expertise in space travel, you're going to have a problem, right? Doing SpaceX. So you're probably going to get a red light on that one. You want to start a coffee shop in a place that's fully saturated with coffee shops, it's going to say, hey, you might be good at what you do and it might be a solid idea, but the saturation in that market is too high. So you probably shouldn't do it. It then says to you, if you have another idea that's better, you should go with that. Right? It never says don't do anything. It might be an outlier. You might have information that you know that no one else does, right? But fundamentally, we believe people have multiple ideas and therefore should keep going until they get the highest score. That's the idea to go with. That's the one to put your time and energy into. Then you start building off the back of that. And a co-founder helps you every single day, 24 hours a day, to move things forward. And the co-founder will have the map. It's got the map of 1,847 things you need to do to get live. And it will know what order in which to do those to optimize your time. But it also does a full assessment of you before you start. It does a personality test. It may do an IQ test just to understand the dimensions of your thinking. It will do a knowledge test around the subject. And then it will treat you in the way that you want to be treated. If it knows you have a full-time job, it will nudge you in the evenings and the mornings. It won't speak to you during the daytime. It won't bother you. The scale and gravity of what you're trying to do might mean you need expertise. It will help you find that expertise. So all of those things happen through the process, and we have an indicator on the back end that when you have proof of work, when you show on our platform that you're doing the work and moving things forward, and you have a stellar idea, the funding team connect with you. And
so that happens automatically.
Yes.
The funding team reaches out
Yes.
to that individual
Yes.
based on the stage they're at and the
Yes.
proof of concept.
Yes.
I love that.
So fundamentally, if it's a solid idea, we get an initial indicator going, hey, this is a high potential idea. But that's not enough for us. We need to see proof of work. And if people are using the platform and they get to a certain stage, they've got to self-fund the first bit, right? We'll come in and go, right, we're going to rocket boost this. Great idea. You're making great progress. We're going to agentically fund you, and we're going to fund you at the stages you need money, but we're going to do it through Web3. We haven't got to transfer to another part of the world. It's all crypto. So everything we do is funding through that process, fast, anyone, anywhere, any idea in the world, That's pretty much what we're doing and building out for.
And when you said any idea in the world, and I want to just emphasize on why I feel that is also super powerful, because we both know that a lot of the ideas that, let's say, manifest in Africa or in Southeast Asia or in some parts of the world, they'll never get light. They'll never get an opportunity, because it's either in certain parts of the world, we both know, right? So I think what you're doing with Ideal, again, another really powerful thing, and I want to commend you on this as well. It's amazing, because you're giving opportunities to the voiceless. You're giving opportunities to ideas that would have never had potential to show up in the past.
Yes.
And now you're changing the ecosystem, you're changing the landscape of giving everyone a true opportunity. So if a person is somewhere in Africa or in Southeast Asia or let's just say in a third world country that has a good idea, that is actually putting in the work, that is so committed, that is spending, done everything right, I think they deserve that opportunity. 100%. I think they deserve to get funded. I 100%. Think they deserve to change their life. Yes. You know what I mean? And this is what you're doing, Peter, whether you're aware of this or not, but you're actually creating a platform that is going to change people's life by giving them a voice. As long as they have an idea, as long as they're willing to work with their co-founder in their pocket and take action, because like everything else in life, it requires action.
Yes. And
if they do that, you're giving them, or Ideal is giving them, the opportunity to potentially change their life.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that on a lightly. That's literally yes. how it's going to work. Correct. Yeah. And funders out there, the investors out there, they will invest in a good idea. Yes. Like there's no brainer. They don't really care where that person is and where they're rolling out. Is there kind of potential ROI? Is there potential this to be the next great idea in that space, whatever that idea is? If it's something small, SME, whatever it is, it creates that. And again, that's why I feel there's, I know this sounds cheesy, but I really feel there's good karma with this, man. Because it's really opening the landscape and giving everyone a fair opportunity once and for all that hasn't been done in history. Would you agree to that?
We're trying so hard.
I know. But what I'm saying, it is fact. It's what we're doing. And for those of you that are listening, because I know a lot of my listeners are based out in the US, in Europe, and some Southeast Asia, and all parts of the world. I just want you guys to know that the application is available anywhere in the world. It's currently free. Maybe you can comment on that.
Yes, the idea validation right now is free. It's a super fast idea validator. It's the first stage of our build. We have a much more comprehensive validator that's coming after this as stage 2. And then the co-founder is coming after this.
Beautiful.
So we're building out stage by stage by stage. But right now, completely free, 24 hours a day. You can put 100 ideas in and it will validate them.
It will validate them and let them know if it's worth pursuing or not, correct?
Yes.
And then the other stages are being rolled out as we speak into integration and integrated. So guys, whoever is listening here, the link will be available on wherever you're streaming this, wherever you're listening to this. Download the application. I've downloaded it. It's incredible. And it's really at least the first step for you guys to step out and start to use that creative mind of yours, that innovation and see, have a real person that's not someone in your family either weighing you down with the idea or telling you it's not great or it's great and they're trying to be nice. This is going to be a real, honest, truthful test to tell you where you stand. So I encourage you guys to download this. I want to close with something, Peter. And again, thank you so much for your time, because I know you're a busy man. I want to go back to the big vision. What is your bigger vision for the future of entrepreneurship and the future of what you are rolling out? What would you say, from a legacy and a movement perspective? What are you looking to achieve, Peter?
Yeah, so we ultimately want to maximize the number of things people can do in their lifetime, right? So we don't want people to found one thing. We want them to found multiple things. We want people to fail early. We want our AI to fail people before they even start. So there's no time, money, resource wasted, right? The learning is important, but we don't think it's the same, right? Right now, if I said to you, hey, Sam, let's get on our horse and ride to this city, right, from where we are today, it's a completely insane idea, right? And you and I building in the entrepreneurial space, that's what it was like.
Yeah.
You had to do that. But now we have a car, and we'll probably have a self-driving car in 5 years' time, right? So the drive to that city takes 100 times less time, 100 times less effort, and we can do more while we're sat in the back of that car, right? It's the same thing for the entrepreneurial journey. We want to remove the friction, remove all the things that you had to do, the things you had to learn to get something done that you discard, right? We want to stop people running 5 marathons before they get to the start line of the actual marathon. Founder burnout is the biggest reason, I believe, why businesses fail. Fundamentally, people are burnt out by the time they get to the start line, and that's when you need the most energy. Is when you're running your business, right? But you're already dead from the build. Yeah. So that has to go. It's insane that 9 out of 10 entrepreneurs fail. That's not a statistic that's acceptable in any other line of business or otherwise, right?
True, yeah.
So we want to eliminate that. Our number one metric on the wall is going to be, how many people did we get live today? How many people did we help today, right? That is fundamental for us. And just to back that up, we're not just about successful commercial entrepreneurs, right? We have something called CSEF, right? CSEF is our matrix for ideas. And only the first 2, C and E, is commercial enterprise, right? For us, social enterprise, SE, is just as important, where people need to generate revenue, but they're not doing it for profit. And the F is for foundations. Anyone building a foundation can use our product for free for the rest of their lives, right? A foundation that is helping the world, helping the planet, an idea that makes a difference to humanity. We want to enable those as well. So it's not just commercial. It's all ideas. Anyone, any idea, anywhere in the world.
I love that, man. I love that. And again, Peter, thank you so much for your mission and what you're doing in this space. It really is like music to my ears, because I'm all about, unlocking people's mind and creating a life of freedom. And this is really at the pinnacle of stepping out into, managing your own freedom of your reality and starting your own business. If there was ever a time in life, I really believe this is the time. This is the time where you have innovators like Peter that is creating the solutions for you to be able to create a dream and bring it into life. Thank you so much again, Peter, for being here, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate what you're doing, man. Thank you so much, and all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.